So here's the story. Jimmy Grippo was famous for years for being the magician in the gourmet rooms at Caesar's Palace in the very early days, when you really consider it to be a real getaway for the mob and kings of state and princes, right? And sultans and things like that. And Jimmy Grippo was the close-up magician there. Jimmy Grippo was one of these rare magicians that didn't have a teacher. He was a self-taught genius from the old country. And it's very clear that Jimmy Grippo was a family magician for his friends in the sanitation and leasing empires there of Las Vegas. So he really fit in, you know what I mean? He was a fight promoter back in New York City, and he was doing close-up magic there. So the secret is, if you want to get a job in old Las Vegas in the gourmet rooms and work for kings and presidents, it helps if you're connected. And when I say connected, bada bing, you know what I'm saying?
It might help.
So let's take a look at them, right? Let's watch. And so don't hold the hair against him in the glasses. It's the 70s. You got to think Casino, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Jimmy Grippo.
We're lucky. He
does not look out of place.
This is definitely the kind of video that made us realize YouTube was a bonanza for magicians, because in the old days, no one would even share this stuff with you. They would covet it like the ring of power.
Right.
All right, Jim, sit down here and amaze us. We've provided screens for all of you so that you can see close up.
Look at this.
And that there be no...
Before I go down your magic, Orson, you know, I promoted a show for you, a movie for you, in 1949. You probably forgot about it. The picture was Black Magic. You played the lead, and Nancy Wilde played the female lead. And you were the hypnotist.
Yes.
And I did a promotion in all the theaters before the picture made its premiere. You didn't even know that.
See how we're all tied
And that's
together?
the first time that I met him since. That was in 1949. I never met him before in my life.
Give us some... Come
Remember
on.
that picture?
Give us some sliding.
Yeah, you didn't give me too much time. Here you have a brand new pack of cards that come direct from the casino. Would you kind enough to break the seal?
Let non-magician.
He always took his time.
Yeah, because he wasn't doing phase. It was, everything was a miracle. Everything had time to breathe, and then there'd be another miracle. So watch it in that context, and you'll see. He's not going to let Merv hustle him along, speed-wise. He's going to lift the tempo.
They haven't seen my magic act.
Let me see how you do it. No, wait a minute. You don't do it that way. Wait a minute. Let me show you how to do it.
Grippo's like, you think it'll work.
You got it. I give the cards to Orson Welles.
What, Joker and everything?
Yeah, give him the whole business. Now, Orson Welles, you kind of remove the two jokers there. There's one on the bottom, one on top. I would like you to whisper a card in my ear, but don't let Orson Welles hear it. Okay. I'm going to write this down, and Orson is not going to... In fact, you can...
I'm not going to look?
Yeah. Just put down Orson Welles.
All right, let me write it behind the place. Okay. Orson
Write it slowly.
Welles. Why?
Well, so you can read it, so they
Well,
can...
I write very well. Don't pick on me, Jim. We'll stop on the...
Don't.
I'm not going to say it out loud.
Now, you can show it to the camera if you wish. You can show it to the camera.
Oops. Almost ran out of room. Don't look, Orson. Okay, that's what I wrote.
Did the camera pick it up?
Sure they did.
Now, Orson, shuffle it back, and we shall go.
Seven of diamonds?
They said Orson Welles will select 7 of diamonds.
All right.
Remember, I haven't touched that pack, so there's no possible chance of any trickery. He has the power now to do the impossible. And this will last for at least 4 or 5 months. And who knows, maybe after that we'll meet again. I want you to deal the cards in my hand one at a time, face down, and stop any time you wish. But when you stop, don't turn it over because you may want to change your mind. But you can stop any time you like.
All right.
Put it, no, don't look at it, put it down.
I didn't look at it. On you, on your...
Now, here. Now, you want to stop there or you want to go further?
No, I'll stop there.
Positively.
Positively.
Don't say later on that if you change your mind, it wouldn't be. You're
No,
satisfied.
I won't. Very good.
Put your finger in that.
There, right there.
Let go. Would you let Orson read the card that has been predicted? Will you read it out loud?
Orson Welles will stop on the 7 of diamonds.
If you stopped on the 7 of diamonds, the power you'll have that you never thought, you are a genius as it is, But watch what you're going to be able to do for the next 4 or 5
That's the
months.
greatest line of chatter I ever heard.
Never mind the chatter. See if it is.
All right.
See if it is.
It can't be.
Well,
it's impossible.
Well, look and see.
Orson doesn't like this guy being more powerful than him, does he?
Oh, I think he's I think he's totally into it. I mean, he loves magic so much. Jimmy Grippo, notice Jimmy Grippo is using uncut casino cards, which is the kind of thing that some maybe Jimmy Grippo knew how to get somehow. But you can really see the kind of impossible mental magic that we just saw is the kind of thing we normally associate these days with non-sleight of hand means. We associate it with David Burglas type magic, or, you know, some of the stuff you might see modern guys doing where they'd be going out of their way not to use sleight of hand. What's really interesting about watching Jimmy Grippo is you're watching a sleight of hand guy do it, but he's doing it in such a way where it doesn't look like there's any sleight of hand. And there was significant pieces of sleight of hand in what he just did.
Plenty of sleight of hand there.
Right?
Was he like that? Was his temperament like that in real life?
Generally, I would say like that, super gentleman, if anything, more brash. He was the kind of guy that would walk up to your table after being very much the host, very much welcoming you on behalf of the family and the management and the whole family here at Caesar's Palace. President Kennedy, it's a pleasure to meet you, so on and so forth. And then he would whip out, he would tell a story, he would put a bet on whether he was going to find your card, and he would pull out, just like in Donnie Brasco, he would pull out a rubber banded roll of 100s and smack it on the table. You know, a lot of gold, but very, 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 very courtly.
And he didn't just do magic. He did things that were miracles. Like one of the things he was famous for is that he would lay out like the biggest guy in the room. He would walk into a room of people, and someone would challenge him, say, "Oh, it's Jimmy Grippo. Do a trick." A trick? I'm the great Jimmy Grippo. And he would go to the biggest guy in the room and he'd say, "You look at me. I'm not a big man. You're a much bigger man than me. You judge me. You think that I'm a small man, and you think that I don't have power. But look into my eye. I have the power." And he would just touch the guy, and the guy would fall to the ground. And then he would say, "Do you doubt my powers?" And he'd look around the room, and then he'd walk out, right? And like that was like, he would spread the legend by doing things like that. And it wasn't a stooge. He genuinely had like a coil on his back, and he shocked the crap out of that guy and knocked him to the ground enough that he was stunned and went, "Whoa, what did that old man do to me?" And he just left the room. But the legend would carry on that this guy, he had powers. He was a wizard walking around in the casino.
He's literally the closest thing that we can really picture to a real Max Malini.
That's right.
Even in terms of the methods he was just doing. You just watched a man, basically palm a card and add it onto the pack. But notice, when used in a simple, direct, clear structure like that, it was indistinguishable from impossible mentalism.
You're right. What's that mean?
Evil eye. Well, the evil eye, of course, a Sicilian curse. Ask anyone who's actually from this culture. You don't do this casually, so I want to apologize. But when you give someone the evil eye, so we used to joke actually in these days when we used to swap Jimmy Grippo stories and run around Las Vegas that if someone did something that would, what was the line? Malocchio. So if someone would give you a hard time, you'd be like, "Hey, Malocchio." Well, that's the evil eye. That's a curse. Right.
Okay.
So I would say you're getting Jimmy Grippo at his most courtly, at his most gentle, but notice how assured and powerful he is. If he was just entertaining people, he was not the kind of guy that engendered heckling. You knew that there was a special opportunity that he was visiting with you.
Mm-hmm.
And his heckler stoppers to lay you out on the ground. Heckle at your own risk.
He definitely used to do that bit where he would knock people off their feet with the electric shock, right? He did.
Totally.
7 of diamonds.
This will come to pass.
Do you need those other two over there?
Oh, these are jokers. Oh, we don't need the jokers. Shuffle a card. Let the folks see how you shuffle. You do magic yourself, pretty
Let
good.
him shuffle the cards. They'll think I'm up to something.
No, that's all right. I haven't seen you since I haven't seen you for.
Yeah, they don't know that.
I did promotion for his picture, but I never met the gentleman. Tonight was the first time.
Hey, I do these pretty good. Oops. Okay, they're all shuffled.
There's a little riverboat gambler in you.
Oh, yeah. Do you like that noise?
I wish we had time so I could show you something about how the riverboats, how the guys in the rivers used to gamble. I wish I had the time to do that. How they stack cards and they can deal not one poker hand, but 8, 7, or 8. Take one from there, but don't let me see it.
All right.
Now look at it, and you can put it back in the pack and mix them up. Mix the pack thoroughly. Now I'm going to attempt to remove that card from the pack while you're watching me closely. But in order for me to do that, I want you to take the pack and go through the pack very quickly. Try to see your card, but don't stop when you see it. I want to watch your eyes.
All right.
By watching your eyes, I get a clue. Don't stop when you see it. Don't help me. Well, when you don't stop when you see it, but go through the complete pack. By watching your eyes, I get a clue.
Right.
Now place the pack right there. Now I know what card
Impossible.
Orson has in mind.
Already you know.
Yes, I do say you know. I know what it is, but I'm going to remove it and have it fly in this pocket besides. Invisibly. I just touched the pack, watch. I memorized the position of your card because I know what it is by watching your eyes. I got it. Now watch my hands. I touch my lapels and my tie. And your card is now in my pocket. You wouldn't believe it, would you?
Never.
If the king of diamonds in my pocket, would it be a pretty good trick?
It would be a marvelous trick.
King of diamonds.
Whoa! We'll be right back after this message.
Wow.
Just a couple of days ago, we watched one of Jimmy's contemporaries in Las Vegas, Michael Skinner, right? We got to see Michael Skinner. You can imagine Michael Skinner at the Golden Nugget at the Lily Lang Trees. This might have been before the Lily Lang Trees in the 70s doing magic his way. Then, and we talked about the way he turned over the cards. We talked about the way he handled his hands. Now, when we look at Jimmy Grippo, you get to see a truly distinctly different style, just in the way he would pick up the cards and put them down again. It's very hard to describe, right? But when you watch them, you get to say, wow, these are two different guys that imbue magic into every little thing they do. And you get to really think about how you want your own magical atmosphere to look, you know? There's no better way, I don't think, of studying and learning that than just watching these different masters show you how they do it. And there's so much in basically how they riffle the deck to make a card jump. I mean, that's all that's happening, right? Yeah.
The thing
One of them might do that. Jimmy, go. Yes, Steve.
the thing I always liked about Grippo is that he has a real workman-like style about him. You know what I mean? It's like not flourish. It's just very workman-like, and direct and straightforward. You know, and that's what I really like about it. You know,
He's like every man. He's
like every man that does amazing things, and there's nothing that looks like a magic move. You know what I mean?
Right. Agreed. It's just that little bit of the mobster flavor when you
Yeah, I love that. Come on, it's every uncle in my family. Come on.
There it is. It's endearing.
There you go.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
No, we love the jacket. No, we're not going to talk about the jacket. Of course, he's got a wonderful, beautiful tailor. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's kind of the point. You know, Steve, I've talked a lot about the fact that I personally avoid many multi-stage routines like the plague. I love magic where we say we're going to make something happen. Watch, it's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
We make it happen. And say it's the ambitious card. The card comes to the top. It's another miracle. Stop, wait, let it breathe. Then when you come back, if you're going to make it happen again, I mean, Jimmy repeats effects. He does effects of repetition, but he never lets it feel. So many of us, we do the effect like it's literally like the next one's always just the one that's really the interesting one. I'll make this ace come to the top, but really the best part is that if I do this and this and this, the ace comes to the top. But really, I'm not going to pay attention to that because the one that's coming next is the one that's worth caring about. It's the exact opposite. They act like every bullet they have is the only bullet left in the gun.
Is the silver one.
It's
Right.
very, very Malini-like, right? The whole thing is very Malini-like. Like
Do
all
you
those
think-
stories that you read about Malini, you could see like Grippo was that guy for his time. Really good.
Aaron, do you
And-
think that's? I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I just wanted to, Marianne got in, I think, a little late and had a question. Yes, Jimmy used to work at the Bacchanal room at Caesar's Palace, was his most famous standing gig in the House Magician at the casino. Yes, Steve.
I was going to say that. Do you think, obviously it's a choice that Grippo made, right? Not to have these multi-phase things, but it also wasn't really the style then either, was it? I don't think this.
Jimmy was
no,
a
man.
professional.
Grippo was his own. Grippo was his own thing. There was no style. I think he was his own guy. He created his own persona. He was a wizard.
There was no sense that Jimmy Grippo was doing anything in a way which was like you would see the guys at his magic club, because he wasn't a magic club guy any more than Skinner, really. You know,
Right.
Jimmy Grippo was totally unique in all the world. We can always name not more than 4 or 5 magicians alive at a time that have a singular style. You've generally heard of the magicians that are totally, it's impossible to confuse them with another magician when they do card tricks or anything, right? No, Jimmy, I would say Jimmy was like, we have to say Malini to find someone that Jimmy Grippo was like. And that's from a century before.
Yeah.
You know? And a lot of that also has to do with the way that his style was very much designed to be working for royalty and their aristocracy, and to have a style that allowed him to float within that audience milieu, like your old JB Ben used to try and pull off.
Let's press on. It was interesting watching this guy tear it up.
I could watch him all day.
Yeah. Good. Now he wants the card to be found in my mouth. Yeah, that's what he wants.
Shuffle them and cut the cards twice. That's one cut.
Now make sure that the card's not on the bottom, on top of the pack. Make sure they're neither on the bottom, neither on
It's
the
not
top.
on the bottom. It's not on the top.
Okay. No, let me have the pack. Now I'm going to memorize the position of that card and know exactly where it is. So now I'm going to find it not with my fingers, but with my lips and my teeth. And while the cards are between my teeth, I'll fold the 6 of spades that he selected 8 times within a split second. Watch.
It's going to sound silly, right? But we don't think of the card in mouth as a fastidious trick. But we think of Jimmy Grippo as a fastidious guy, you know? Part of his magic move in the trick before was to straighten his lapels, and, you know, he's a fastidious guy. Have you ever seen
I've
such
never
a
seen it done as a stunt either.
And so clean? And incidentally, not for nothing, but have you ever seen such a crisp, clean, clear fold?
Yeah, it's interesting because that definitely, there's been, you know, in the last 10 years, there's been several certain tricks come out where the card gets folded and then put into the mouth and revealed, either force revealed or switched or effects like that. But I've actually just never seen it done as a stunt. Like, I'm gonna grab your card out of the deck and fold it 8 times. There it is. I think that's really an interesting way to present it, and almost the way I would expect, like, Blaine almost to do it, you know?
Quite.
And it makes it fast, right? It's just a fast feat, like you're saying. Usually
So
when people do this, it's a comedy routine that they get like 5 minutes out, right?
I've been closing my first card set with card in mouth, so it's pretty much over now, right? It's like pretty much over. Like, I pretty much can't do that anymore, don't you think?
Oh, we can watch videos like this and admire you.
I'm just asking for a friend. I'm asking for a friend. Am I done now?
Let me ask you this question. Are you done in general? Because really, right now, what you're prohibited from doing is magic shows. So once you're doing a magic show, I think you can look, there were so many things. We don't have to get into specifics, but there's so many things that you have to do in a magic show, which, technically speaking, on the face of it, if you ever said, I'm going to do this, we would say, you can't do that, right? But a lot of them have to be done. If you just read the old magic books, how many tricks require a little saliva?
A little.
Has there been any time when it was appropriate for anyone to be aware that a saliva was part of anything? There's never been a time where it's a real sausage factory situation, Steve. You know? No one wants to know how the sausage is made. And Jimmy Grippo, I've never seen such a dry card such a dry card come out of a mouth that seemed like it was barely ever there at all.
It's funny.
It barely
No
was.
more mouth magic now. What'd you say, Alex?
It barely was.
You know, interestingly enough, you guys have mentioned it. Jimmy Grippo bears more in common with David Blaine
Sure.
than you would guess. It was as though David Blaine was wearing a suit and was dressed up in a formal situation. It's very similar, actually, in a lot of ways, effect-wise, and clarity-wise, and directness-wise.
I thought I saw him blaming Orson Welles there.
And
Yeah.
and stunning-wise.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Steve. You're totally right.
Blaming him how?
Blamed him. He like opened it up and he blamed him. Looked right
Yeah.
at his eye,
It's
like,
funny because Blaine,
Now
when
what?
he does it, he goes, I grippoed him when I did that, man.
Yeah, I grippoed him.
Yeah,
Well, that's how Blaine started. He used to say, now I'm going to just grippo him. But now it's just changed.
That's right.
All right, let's press on, man. We got just a little bit more to go. In
One more experiment with the language of the eyes.
Now we ruined the deck. Now we ruined the deck, you see. So let's take another one.
Take one more.
Well, how much time have we got now?
3 seconds.
3 seconds. Okay. Let's mix them up. Now, you folks, mind reading. You can if you wish. Let me see if I can read your mind. Select one, any one that you wish. Oh, look.
I got it.
Oh, look at it.
Can I show the audience?
Oh, yeah, if you wish.
Don't look.
Now look at me. I don't want to read your eyes. I don't want to even look at you. Just concentrate and look at the side of my face. You have in your hand a red card, haven't you, Merv? And it's very, very clear to me. It's like a picture on the wall. I see nothing but the 8 of diamonds. Well, how do you do that? Well, I read your mind. I read his eyes, and you read your mind, see?
Was it that easy?
Well, if you concentrate, it's easy, yeah.
Jimmy Grippo is at Caesar's Palace. We'll be back after this message.
There's no doubt about it, right? Like many of those effects were straight out miracles, right? But what really came across even in this was that the overall effect of Jimmy Grippo was one of being in the present. Right? Like if you see the way he ended it with not the strongest effect of the group by a long shot because he had no time, right? He had no time to build up the repeat card to wallet or any of that stuff. So really you just ended up feeling like you were really with this guy.
You're right. I mean, there is a similarity with Blaine there because a lot of times Blaine is just in a room, just hanging out. I mean, you know, I got to hang out with Blaine. Well, you didn't see him do any magic and that's not even important. I sense that Grippo was a lot like that. Like, I got to hang out with Grippo. Oh, yeah? Did he do any magic? No.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Or maybe he did something, but like, I'm sure when David Blaine gets hired to work a party, right? Tricks per hour is not really, I don't even work tricks per hour. You know, I'm sure that when Blaine gets paid to just be at a party, right? And he probably feels like maybe he should crack out a force or two while he's there, right? Maybe
swallow a frog, maybe
Balducci for the people, you know. But we're talking about corporates where, you know, you ever go to Las Vegas and find out that Paris Hilton will be at the club and that's the headline? It's like, you know, normally you would like say like, you know, Celine Dion is on stage at the show, but these days they're going to be like, you know, Snooki is at the club behind a rope in a corner, but you can say you were, you know, several hundred people away from her on a different floor on the other side of a rope, but you can sell tickets on that, right?
She's not even going to do a number, right? She's not going to come out and do a number.
She doesn't even have an act.
She doesn't even have a number.
In the college market, you find that they book people who just were on an MTV show, and you say, like, what was their, you know, they were on, what was the show? Jersey Shore back in the day? Well, what's her act? There's no act. You will be in the presence of Snooki.
This is a great observation, but Gary says that card and mouth trick was a great reason to do a deck switch.
It's a great point, Gary. And it really seemed like it hadn't occurred to Jimmy, you know, when it occurred to him to just do this off the cuff mouth trick. It's like it occurred to him only too late that he had spoiled his deck of cards. Do we have another one over here? Oh, look, this one happens to be open. We can just use this for a quick, impossible mind reading feat.
And think
How
about
much
like
time do we
today's
have?
card collectors looking at those uncut casino decks. There's pristine decks that are probably like $500 a deck now, and he's opening them like they're tissues. Beautiful.
Well, they were easier to get, but also when you've got an uncut casino deck, freshly sealed, it's impossible for there to be a duplicate. And so if you think about it,
True.
that's how we know he was able to do the trick without duplicates, right?
Right.
Of course, right.
It's implied. That's right.
And it's very clear, and no more needs to be said about that.